Welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Today, we're talking about momentum. How do you get into momentum? How do you maintain momentum? And trust me, momentum is everything when you're trying to succeed at high levels. Today's guest is going to tell us all about that. We'll be right back with a full introduction to her. Today's guest, Jennie Wolek, she's out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, this gal brings the energy. She's a leader. She's leading other leaders. She's someone who is an expert really on this topic of helping people maintain momentum. But before we can maintain momentum, we have to get into momentum. Jennie Wolek, thank you for being here today and helping us get into this amazing topic that everybody needs to hear right now.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Justin. I am so honored to spend time with you. I always love our time together, and I know others do as well. You know, this is such an interesting topic. It's such a great word. I actually named this new membership group that I've created, Maintain Your Momentum, because it's so important. We can talk about it, and yet sometimes it's hard to get going in it. And really, it just starts with baby steps and getting into action. And getting into action on the right things. How about that?
You know, I love it. It's a great premise for the show. I want to tell a story. You've heard this story before. I had a basketball coach. Right now, like for those that are watching it live, we're right in the middle of March Madness, right? We're seeing some teams succeed, go on and defy all odds. Other teams we're seeing struggle. My head basketball coach, who was actually voted at one point to be as the top high school basketball coach in the country. So this guy's like really good. He would always tell us, he would say, we have to get Big Mo on our team. He said, if you can get Big Mo on your team, we win. And Big Mo was momentum. He knew that it was like having another player off the bench, that you started to get the crowd into it. You started to get like your own belief into it, your own energy into it. And all of a sudden, like things get a lot easier. It's like the court all of a sudden tipped downhill and the other team is struggling. And so I love this topic of momentum because the real estate industry can be a tough one, right? You can really have these. Seems like a lot of stuff is trying to stop your momentum, right? I know we're in a tight market right now. I don't know exactly what Tulsa looks like. I know Portland's pretty tight, right? Talk to us a little bit about how you're teaching people in a tight market how to get momentum. You said it's doing the right things, doing them consistently, maybe even not even expecting to see the exact result right away. Like, what else should people be trying to do in order to get Big Mo on their team?
Oh my gosh, you know, as you were just talking through that story, it reminded me of so many great examples that I've seen in my life. I've been in this business for 20 years, Justin, 20. And I don't know if you saw the news report yesterday that there's more real estate agents than there are active listings on the market in the United States. And so that's a topic that real estate agents freak out about. They're like, oh my gosh, so much competition with the other agents. And I'm so old and have done this business for so long that I just know I need to focus on what is most important for me, my team, my community, and stay on purpose and can't not get distracted by others around me. But first, real estate agents, I think, make a big mistake of getting into this business and they don't know why they're in this business. They don't have a purpose or a mission or a plan for their lives, let alone their business. And so momentum can be picked up over time by doing the right activities. The number one job description of a real estate agent, whether you like it or not, is lead generating. And that means talking to people, connecting with people. And if you're not doing that every day, then you might as well quit because that is your job. And so you have to get into action. Now, today's conversations may not lead to a piece of business tomorrow, and yet it can build a relationship that produces future opportunities and connections and relationships for a real estate career. That's how over all these years, 20 years in the business, I've, grown a team that last year we got to help 173 families, and half of those come from our local database and 30% come from agent-to-agent relationships. Mm-hmm. And all those relationships are based on consistency, and predictability comes whenever you stay consistent on what matters most. So you got to practice every day. You got to do what you're supposed to do. You got to have the skills to perform at the highest level. And you got to have systems and checklists to have a systematic approach to your business so that you don't forget when you get really busy and you get distracted by all the things going on in today's world, you got to follow your schedule. So there you go.
So something that stood out to me that you said there, we love sound bites, right? As a society, it's like, let's go to the news and let's see what the soundbite is. The reality is most sound bites aren't good, right? There's very few times that you go and you're like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Now, sometimes depending upon the news source, but I would say in general, the news's job is to inform us. Their business is to keep our eyeballs on their content. And the reality is that eyeballs stay on their content if there's something alarming. And so whether it be real estate news, whether it be national news, you identify this component of a fast way to get out of momentum and stay out of momentum is to constantly be watching the news bites, because you think, okay, there's fewer listings than there are agents. Oh my goodness, the sky is falling. That means every potential listing that I have in my hopper, I've got how many other agents competing? Like, you just start to bring all the world's problems into your lap. And you're like, please, problems, hang out right here inside my brain, right? And I think you can't, like, so much of this is mindset. And of course, I'm a mindset guy, right? Think Bigger Real Estate exists for a reason, is that most of the problems that we face begin in our heads. And I think having the ability to weed out the stuff that doesn't serve us and actually being able to identify what is serving me. And I would just encourage everybody to take Jennie's advice there and be very careful about the things that you hear that were designed to keep your eyeballs on that, right? On those things are not designed to help you get into momentum. If you want momentum, be very leery of consuming, internalize, and worrying about national news, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm also a mindset person, and I'm also a systems freak. I love systems. And I also know that we have to build them based around our goals, whether they're our personal goals or our professional goals. And I think a lot of agents are just willy-nilly with their day. Like, well, let's see what happens. Well, when you build a perfect calendar of the perfect life of a real estate agent, that should already be time blocked. Justin, I know you get up early. I start my day at 4:45. I go
Same.
and
same time. I love it.
I exercise. I think, I plan. I prepare for my day. I am proactive. I am already prepared for anything that can come my way, and I take care of those most important things in the morning that are my business activities, that are the most dollar productive, purposeful activities. And so, as a team, we created we have a big goal for this year. We're going to help 221 families, regardless of the market. That's our goal. The market got a little wonky and weird at the beginning of this year with the lowest inventory we've ever seen in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1.5 a month supply of inventory. And I've never seen that before. And that doesn't matter. So what does that mean? Well, we got to go find more sellers than ever before. And so we created a contest for the team. We're going to focus on taking 90 listings in 90 days, and that's buyer listings or that's seller listings. And that means we've had a consultation with them. They've agreed to work with us, and they're going to buy or sell in the next couple months. And so we're at our 30-day check-in. How are we doing? And the team got to 31. So that's a celebration. And here's the thing is, if you set such a big goal, I don't know if you've heard of the 12-week year and you practice any of those beliefs. Well, I love it in theory about the checking in every quarter. We got to know where we are along the way. And so that is building our momentum, because now how does my team feel about hitting that 30-day goal? They've got their stride, they know what it takes, and they can do it again. So that's the momentum to keep us going, to get to the 90 days, to have taken 90 listings, which has us on track for our big goal at the end of the year.
So first and foremost, congratulations on having an incredible start to the year, big goals, and you're already on track. Like, ladies and gentlemen, please, like, if we could all be in the same room, we'd give her a round of applause. I see one like there. If you're listening to this, give some love to Jennie Wolek.
It's team. It's all team.
for having an amazing team, right? Here's what I would add to what you just described there as another kind of real nugget, right? Number one is be very leery of national news, bringing that into your reality. It doesn't have to be your reality unless you accept it as such. The second thing is, right, an empty mind is a devil's workshop. We all know that like if you actually don't time block your day, if you don't create an intentional plan for your day, that this is what I'm going to go do, what ends up happening is you fill it with nonsense, either with unproductive activities or with unproductive thinking, right? All these concerns that don't have to be your concerns. They're somebody's concerns. There are agents out there that are absolutely going to struggle and get out of the business. The only way that's going to be you is if you do what those agents do, which is not time block, not set goals, not check in, not get up and do the work all day, every day, going out to serve people that need you. Like we get paid to solve problems, right? That's what we do as business leaders. And are we saying that there's no problems in real estate right now? No, the fact that there's a shortage of inventory, there's a whole bunch of buyers that need your help and that are wanting your help more than ever. There's sellers that actually want to move. They're just scared of like actually become a buyer now. So more than ever, you're needed. It's not that there's no need for you. There's more of a need for you, right? And I think it almost lays the foundation, like lays the case out, the fact that we need professional agents, not customer service agents that are simply working for a big tech company, right?
100%. It is our job to care for our clients and to consult them. And today might not be the right day for them to hop into this market. And that's why we are fiduciary. That word is so key to how we show up for our clients. And so that means we are focused more on them and their goals than our own bank accounts. And I think we say commission breath, right? So many agents are so desperate because they haven't lead generated. They haven't followed a system or a checklist. So they then become desperate to pay their own bills that they may encourage people to make choices or decisions that they shouldn't be making. And that's just not how we operate. The other thing that's key to all of this, Justin, like the number one thing that a real estate agent must do, lead generate, and they also must have a database that has a purposeful plan behind it. And as you can see over the years, as my production has increased, it's always increasing by my sphere of influence, my local repeat and referral business growing year after year. That's because of consistency and momentum. That is how you get it. You have a plan, you have a purpose, and you systematically apply the touches, the emails. I mean, recently I just sent out an email that was off our normal system because I'm very systemized, right? Well, I sent just a random email with a snapshot of the local market stats showing the absorption rate and what it meant. And I just put a wow, just wow, this market is crazy. And they hadn't heard from me in that voice where I was being me. And I said, here is a great opportunity. Look at the percentage of how homes have increased in value. You sitting in your house over the last year, your home has increased over 20%. By doing nothing. Buyers, interest rates still so low. This could be a win-win. Now call us and we'll talk. I got 2 calls and emails right afterwards from past clients who I'd helped 5 or 6 years ago who said they trusted me and said, well, maybe it is the time. I said, well, you might have to rent for a while. And they said, okay. I mean, that's our job, is to guide them and to be that educator to our people to help them make the best decision.
So we talked about time blocking. You just threw out some awesome insight as to what should be time blocked, right? It needs to be like lead generating, like out in real estate conversations. I don't know how many top agents I've interviewed, and they said at the end of the day, the thing that matters most is how many real estate conversations are you in and day out. Like that will be the biggest determiner as to how many appointments you get and how much business you get. And I think I hear you say that. And I think another component of momentum is that you're not starting over every day, right? There's this concept of like lead generating 100%, but if you can actually be not having to reestablish trust and with people because they already know you, how much faster did that move? There's a great book called The Speed of Trust. And how much faster did that business move when you weren't saying, hi, I'm Jennie Wolek, I'm a real estate agent here in the area, where they're like, no, we already know all that. Like you're already our person. Here's our problem, right? So if you don't have a good database, you're not building on top of anything. You're starting over each and every day. And the biggest challenge you have to face is this concept of, who is this person calling me? And should I trust them, right? When you already have that in place, all of a sudden it moves so much faster and you're not starting from ground zero every day. So I love the fact that you have in your time block, Jennie, you have right, lead generating and you've got database work of actually being and staying in contact with the people that already trust you.
I mean, that's the thing, is I realized earlier in my younger years in the business that I'm not that prospector. I'm not that outbound caller of for sale by owners and expired. So I had to find a way to fit my behavioral style and my comfort level. I know you got to get uncomfortable to be successful. I hear you and I know it. And so how could I get uncomfortable? Well, that would be maybe calling people and saying happy birthday and not asking for the business. Happy home anniversary. Oh my gosh, how's the year been going? Are you guys doing okay? You know, last year we talked about getting in our care calls. That is a very simple script, Justin. It is, hey, Justin, it's Jennie. I'm just thinking about you guys. How are you doing?
Yeah,
Now, when we did that all through 2020 and 2021 turns, and now it's time for them to maybe make a move, needing some real estate help, they call us. They reply to our emails. They raise a hand because we've done the work to get to that point, to receive the opportunity.
Yeah, you've built the foundation already. Jennie, talk to us a little bit about, I know time blocking is one of these ideas that a lot of people would like to have become a reality. It's kind of like a unicorn, right? You only find it when it's injured. I heard that yesterday. What do you do to time block? Like, how do you actually make that happen when it's such a great concept, but so many people struggle with it? Can you talk us through what time blocking for Jennie Wolek and your team looks like?
It is so crazy that it is so hard for so many. And I get it. I've been there. And it really started for me. You know, there's a class called Bold. Justin, I know you know this class. It was years ago. I took it so many times, and that really got my mindset around the importance of having a time blocked calendar. There's also a great book called The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan that is really a foundational piece for me when it comes to establishing great habits around what's most important, and those being on your calendar and taken care of first. Well, first you got to identify, what do you even care about? Like, what are your goals personally and professionally? Inside of that book, The One Thing, on page 114, there are 7 circles, areas of your life. And these are personal, whether it's spiritual or physical goals, or you've got business, professional goals, financial needs and desires. And so you have to think really big into your life. You're a mindset guy. You totally get this. And you know, like, if I don't know where I want to be in 5 years or 10 years, how am I going to know what I need to be doing today to get me there? There is no path if you don't know where you're going. And so that's really, really helped me. Now, if I go really to like the surface level for my team, we build out our calendar based on our productivity. So we already know that we're lead generating 9 to 11, 11 to 12 is follow up, handle any business that's going on. The afternoons are for appointments, inspections. That should be the ideal calendar. Now, before you get into lead gen as a team, we have an 8:30, the agents hop on a practice and role play Zoom together, and they do that for 15 minutes. Then the rest of the team joins them, and we have a huddle. And that is where we share our gratitude for the day and also our goals for the day. So we have accountability, even though we're not physically in the same space over this whole last year. We're still connected as a team. And so we talk about our gratitude and our goals. And then through the day, we have check-ins, and we use a tool called Slack. That's where we can communicate. So that when people take a listing, they post it in there and we cheer for them. And then we have an end of day wins channel. So at the end of the day, although again, we're not physically together, we're still staying connected as a team. So we have, quarterly team fun days and weekly team meetings. And I read a great book called by Patrick Lencioni called Death by Meeting. I highly encourage you to read it. It's really great plan for building out. So you don't have meetings just to have meetings, right? We are very purposeful and we're efficient and we're effective. And so we want to set up our calendar and our business, for our business goals and our personal goals. And we also really support each other in our physical goals. I mean, we've got to be healthy. If we're not here mentally and physically taking care of ourselves, that has to be on your calendar too. We got to take care of ourselves in order to be the best real estate agent and the best spouse and mom and all that too.
So you've got the big rocks, right? The things that matter the most, you've got in the calendar, and it's not like, okay, what are we going to do today? You have it predetermined. Yes. Right? These hours on the Wolek team, like, this is what we do during these hours. Like, there's no question of like, hey, are you going to be available at this time? What? No, this is when we do this. This is when we lead generate, right? Probably takes a lot of the question out of it. And I think the more that you get in momentum of having these time blocks in place, it gets easier. The fact that if you told somebody who'd never gotten up before 6, hey, 4:45, they'd be like, that is going to kill me, right? But
Right.
now you and I both know that 4:45, it's like my body actually wakes up about 4:40 every morning. It's like, did I oversleep? Oh no, it's about time to get up, right?
Well, I think the time part, I think a lot of people they are staying up too late. And that's the other part. So like once you realize that getting up earlier makes me more productive with my day and I'm on purpose, then you are tired and eyes closed by 10,
Yes,
right?
100%. I know. I oftentimes will hear people asking about, man, I'm looking for a new Netflix series, and I'm like, how do you have time to do like, how do you have time to do that? And this is no judgment. I'm just saying, if your business is not where you need it to be, my guess is that you're putting a lot of entertainment before productivity. And I think that adjusting your schedule to where you force yourself to get up really early, right? Earlier than what you're used to. And by the time the end of the day gets, like Jenny's saying, you actually you won't be looking for something to do to fill a space because it's only 10 o'clock. What do I do? Like Jenny's sleeping. I'm sleeping. Like there's no question about what's happening. And it's not because I'm choosing that. Like my body is saying like lights out, man, you got just 6 hours before you got to get up again. Like get going. Right.
There's so much beauty in a great night's sleep and waking up early. And I think that some people just haven't opened up their mind to that belief or that idea.
Yeah, I would agree that momentum comes. So here's some principles that I've discovered. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Jenny. Is that one way to kill momentum is to get up and be all up in your inbox all day, right? Literally, email can consume your entire day. And you are simply at that point responding to everybody else's requests for you. You're on everyone else's agenda. It's like you're the courier. Hey, here to deliver a package, here to pick up a package. Like,
Yeah.
and in fact, I had a client of mine who said that like back in the olden days, you would have never asked a CEO to go work in the mailroom. And the reality is right now, as CEOs of our businesses, we're constantly working in the mailroom because we spend all day in our inbox. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that we shouldn't ever check our email, but I think the second that you start your day with that, it's really hard to get out of that. And I would imagine that your morning routine has, like you said, some mindset, some spirituality. It has some physical care, all of these things. If you want to like, what do I do at 4:45 in the morning? And that may not be the right time for you, but get up. If you're lacking some momentum, get up earlier than you're accustomed to. You'll naturally want to go to bed earlier than you're accustomed to, and you'll be cutting out a lot of fat, right? And you'll be able to take control of your day before everybody needs you. Like the reality is, if you get up and get started, people aren't awake and the world isn't needing you at that point. They're okay if you get back to them, before 9 o'clock or maybe before noon, depending upon the topic. So I think that's something you pointed out, Jenny, that I think is so critical for anybody that wants to get in momentum, is you have to get out ahead of it. You have to get up earlier than what the world expects you to be responsive, right?
Yeah, I really, really, truly found I was that respond to everything as soon as it came in, like so much so that it was dangerous. It was, replying to a text or an email on my phone while driving. And then once you have children, you realize you're risking your child's life. And the kids are yelling at you, put the phone down. You were like, okay, that's stupid. So you realize you get in the habit. Okay, so if I can go drive my car for 15 minutes and not respond, I can maybe go a little bit longer. And so that's what I think the hardest thing for real estate agents is that they haven't already time blocked their day or set the goal of how many contacts they need to get in or know their big rocks for the day or the week. And so therefore they allow themselves to be distracted because it makes them feel important. It makes them feel like they have a job and that they are doing something. And then they get to the end of the day and they didn't accomplish the most important thing. So I even have, I use a tool called the 411, and it's based off my really big goals and chunked down by the month and by the week. And in each week, I only have 5 things that are on my list of my must-dos this week. I already know that I'm supposed to make contacts through lead generation and all of my job description because that's already built on my calendar. So that doesn't need to be on my 411. What needs to be on my 411 are the big projects that move the business forward. And so for me, I think getting that clarity around, I don't have to solve all of my business problems this week. I can put them into the calendar next week in the afternoon on Wednesday from 1 to 3 to time block thinking about that project because that's not urgent. It's not needed till next quarter. If that makes sense, that's a hack that I learned when things pop in my brain, I just have little notepads beside me and I write it down, and then I go put it on the calendar into the future so that I
Oh, that's
have a
brilliant.
placeholder for it.
And you've just cleared up your mind to be able to focus on what you're supposed to be focusing on at the time, right?
Yes.
I had a client who told me, she said, I'm feeling totally overwhelmed, or she said I was feeling totally overwhelmed. And I went and I took everything that I did, a total brain dump, do. And then I actually lined up similar to what you just said and put it like where it actually belongs in my year. She said there was stuff I was worrying about today that doesn't need to happen until third quarter. Why in the world am I concerned about that right now? And she, all of a sudden, she spread it all out. And she was like, oh, I got this, right? I got this. So
Yeah.
sometimes we feel overwhelmed and it's like, no. What is right now important and what's not? Another thing you put out here, Jenny, that I really want to talk about. I had another client who was telling me, she said, this weekend, I want to thank you because I took the day off. She said, you helped me do it. I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, you made me commit to how many days a week am I taking off? And she said, in this crazy market, I've absorbed this concept that everybody needs me all day, every day. And so if they have a demand, I've got to give it. And she said, I told 3 clients, I'm taking today off. I'll get back with you first thing on Monday. One was a super cranky client, she said. She said, it was amazing how I got up on Monday morning. It was going to be a little bit crazy. I knew that already. But even my cranky client, I felt like he even respected me a little bit more. And I think if our value proposition is that we are going to be the person that picks up the phone in 5 seconds and goes and runs an appointment, we've just turned ourselves into a Redfin agent. We've just turned ourselves into a Zillow agent where they actually don't respect the person. They're there for the technology, period. Like, you're interchangeable. If you want to be paid and respected like an attorney, like a doctor, guess what? You have business hours. And these days I'm off and I look forward to talking to you, at this time on this day. And I get it that doesn't always work that way, right? There's certain situations and deadlines where you have to step up. But the more that you can do what you just talked about, Jenny, which is identify what's actually urgent right now and what's not, schedule it out into the future, including client demands. Now, all of a sudden, you have space to create momentum. Because if you're on everybody else's errand all the time, it's really hard to ever create any momentum in your business because you're simply their courier, right? You're doing what they want you to do, which isn't always what you need to be doing for you and your business and your team.
Being an on-call agent will lead to immediate burnout. And I can speak from experience. I live that life. And so I think that what you touched on is so important for most agents to work on is setting expectations, whether it's with their family. Hey, family, this is when I'm going to be available for you. So let mommy do some work during this time to this time, and then I'm all yours after that. And you've got to actually uphold what you say to be true. And then also with your clients. And I haven't worked so much with buyers and sellers over the last year. And that's my other thing I want to bring up with everyone is to think about is leverage. Leverage is life. When you have people in your world who can help you, and you may not have to grow a team, you could just grow some other agents in your office who are available to run out and show houses for you. There are so many beautiful ways in our business to leverage our business, whether it's through technology, systems, checklists, what we even have, virtual assistants these days who are happy to be behind the computer all day long. So how can you make sure you don't burn out by utilizing different forms of leverage, even leveraging at home, whether that's a house cleaner or it is food being delivered to your home so that you don't have to go out to the grocery store. What are ways that you can get your time, because you do have an hourly rate. Do you know what that is? Mm-hmm. And if it's less than that hourly rate, then you should leverage it somehow, or don't do it at all. Is it really important? Or time block it.
So powerful, Jenny. I think you and I are so alike, and kind of in the way that we help agents. One of the things that I talk about is calculate your dollar per hour. Take 250 days a year. Like, take how much money you want to make, divide it by 250 days a year and 8 or 10 hours a day, and you'll be amazed at like, oh wow, I'm worth a couple $100 an hour. Based on that goal, becomes a really easy filter for you then to then say, should I be doing that, or should another person, system, or tool be performing that function? All of a sudden you get clarity of like, oh, no wonder it looks like my real estate business, I'm making $20 an hour, because my whole day is filled with $20 an hour activities. It makes total sense, right? All of a sudden the mystery is gone. It's like, okay, so what are the activities that are worth $200 plus an hour? there are a handful, not a lot, but there are a handful. The more you focus on that, the more you're able to take care of a team, take care of your family, and actually be excited about what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and something you just were reminding me about is just understanding that sometimes in our business, you will be busier than other times. And today, in this wild west of a market, it may be that way. It may be that you don't get in all of the lead gen every single day consistently. So maybe for right now, you can come up with a life hack that is, okay, on Thursday morning, I'm going to lead gen from this time to this time, and on Friday, all day long. Whatever you have to do. I mean, as you know, we've used this term, if you must erase it, you must replace it. So if you don't get in that time that you're supposed to be doing, put it somewhere else. I mean, I've made phone calls on Saturdays and Sundays because I didn't get in the numbers that I should have during the week, or I had to be more purposeful when I went to the grocery store to run into people and have conversations because I hadn't done it during the week. So you have to make sure that you understand what the goals are and how you achieve those goals. And then lastly, Justin, let's talk about this really quick. This is the other reason agents burn out. I said this at the beginning, they don't know why they are doing this business. They don't know what it is funding. And when you realize that you have this awesome opportunity to make an unlimited amount of income in this industry, now what are you going to do with it? And when that income has a home or a place to go that then helps you give back to something you care about, or your community, or other local small businesses or nonprofits, then your heart is attached to your business, to your purpose, to communicating with your clients, to being a resource for them. And they feel it and they see it, and they do reach out to you when it is time. Oh.
Sorry, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's hard to make a phone call for phone call's sake, right? Because I want to call people. Like most people don't say, like, I want to get up and call a bunch of people. But if you can tie it to, like you said, I'm doing this because I want to impact these people and I want to impact my family in this way. All of a sudden, like you said, bring your heart into it. You said it so well. Awesome stuff, Jennie. Let's move. In fact, before I move to the signature question of the show, I'm just going to tap into how you continue to be a big thinker. I want to ask you, where do people go to get more Jennie Wolek? Where do they go to get this concept of maintaining momentum? I know you've built some things to really help agents. Please kind of share with us where we go to get that.
Yeah, I guess years ago, I discovered that my big why and my passion and my purpose was to empower real estate agents and help them realize that it doesn't take 20 years to become an overnight success like it did for me. So I want to give them and share all the time my systems and tips and tricks and mindset and all the things, right? And I started doing that about 4 or 5 years ago. I created a Facebook group called Your Journey with Jennie. And so people can just ask to join the group. And I've got lots and lots of great real estate agents from across the country, across the world, really, who have opted into this closed Facebook group. And I just do my best every day to share some motivation, inspiration, systems or tools, or adding some value back because I love it. And I love seeing them grow. And so then I realized over last year, COVID, I didn't get to travel and train and be in front of agents because that's when I'm most on fire and that's what I love the most. So I just created some online versions of classes. So I created a 3-hour workshop called Mirror My Business. That's where 3 hours I just throw all of our systems and tools at you, just hardcore, nonstop. You get the links to my Google Drive with all of our checklists and everything. And then I was like, well, real estate agents, I love them. We're all big thinkers and we're all learners. We love to learn. And yet sometimes then the phone rings and we get distracted and we don't actually implement what we've learned. And so I created a 6-week follow-up called Implement My Business. So we go deeper. We've got some accountability, a closed Facebook group. And then I'm like, hey, I've got these amazing agents that are all in. We've created a great community together. So let's maintain this momentum and keep it going together. And so that actually launches tomorrow. I've got a membership group that is starting. We're going to have 30-minute webinars each week and lots of other fun and accountability and coaching too.
Oh, I love it, Jennie. How amazing that people have the opportunity to go deep and then to maintain the momentum. What a perfect segue from today's topic. And how do they go get that? I guess probably just start off at the group, Your Journey with
Yeah.
Jennie. Is that the best way to get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Your Journey with Jennie, and also yourjourneywithjennie.com, JENNIE. And that's where you can find all the events and classes and stuff.
I love it. I love it. Go there if you're looking to get and stay in momentum. All right, now to our last question, Jennie, which is this.
Oh, boy.
You are a big thinker. You've proven that for the past 20 years and even in the past few minutes that you've spent with all of us. What does Jennie Wolek do to continue to grow, to continue to be a big thinker? With all the demands you have, everything you have going on, what does Jennie do to continue to expand her possibilities?
Well, first off, I don't think that I'm naturally a big thinker. I think that I've grown to appreciate and understand that when I put myself in uncomfortable places, meaning with really productive, big thinking people, or hiring and paying for a coach to help me dream bigger and to push me to the what's next, that's when I've become the biggest thinker of all. And so I think that we so often forget to dream. And we tell our kids they can be whatever they want to be, and you do you, and then we don't even take that same advice for ourselves. So I've had to just really, even for example, I'll just admit my vulnerability on this. This membership group I'm creating, I'm building the boat as I'm sailing it across the ocean. I am not an expert on how to have a membership group. I didn't even do that much research. I said, hey, who wants to hang out with me more? And they said, I do. I'm like, all right, let's go. So that's the other way that you think bigger, is you add value to others and they help push you along, and or others are pulling you along. So I think to think bigger, the key just to get uncomfortable and put yourself in really interesting new places, as long as they are in alignment with who you are and what your ultimate goals for life should be.
Yeah, comfort really can be the enemy of growth, can it? Yeah. Good stuff. I know James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits, he talks a lot about how important environment is upon growth and upon adopting new habits. And I hear you saying that when it comes to being willing to grow, you've got to put yourself in an environment that cultivates that causes you to have to step up and be your best self. Great stuff, Jennie. Always enjoy our time together. Thank you so much for pouring into us. This has been fantastic. And you've definitely taught us about momentum. And I'm grateful for that, and grateful for all of the big thinking that you put out into the world, and the journey that you're on, bringing people along with you. So appreciate you very much, my friend. Always such a pleasure. And if anybody here who's listening to this has found value in this, do Jennie and I a favor. Don't keep this a secret, right? Tag people in the comments. People need to hear this. Like it, share it, do everything that you can do to help more people learn about Jennie and the amazing path that she's on, helping inspire people to be in momentum and to be a bigger thinker. Jennie, appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. And to everybody listening, go think bigger. Thanks, Jennie.
Bye.